But let me tell you the truth. A woman who has all of these qualities is going to attract a wide range of men. Hi YouTube and welcome back to my channel, Lily of the Field. I'm Caroline and today we are going to be talking about 7 qualities in a woman that serious Christian men love to see. And by serious Christian men, I am talking about men who are looking for wives and mothers, right? They are ready to settle and they're looking for certain qualities. And these are just qualities that I have personally experienced, that I have heard men say to me that they are looking for, and things that I've gotten compliments on. Please watch to the end because there is a disclaimer to these men who will seek a woman who has these qualities. This video was inspired by a video by Hafiz. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm Nigerian and I just don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry, Hafiz. But I will leave that video down in the description below for you to watch. That video was Hafiz, who is the host, interviewing a room full of Christian men, I believe, who were sharing the qualities about their wives or partners that made them say, this woman is wife material, this woman is someone I want to be with long term. Of course, I don't agree with everything, but I really liked the things that the men had to share. Many of the things that I'll mention in this video were kind of brought up in that video. So you can hear it from the horse's mouth. You can hear men actually say, yes, we actually like these things. But I'm just gonna share my little feminine opinion perspective on qualities that you may be able to cultivate and start to beautify yourself from the inside out. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. The number one thing that I get complimented on, I mean more than any physical trait, more than any other trait that I will mention on this list, is a peaceful and a quiet spirit. Calmness, a peacefulness. This is like gold. I mean, this really lights a man up for some reason. I'm going to read from 1 Peter 3:3. Let not yours be the merely external adorning with elaborate interweaving and knotting of the hair, the wearing of jewelry or changes of clothes, but let it be the inward adorning and beauty of the hidden person of the heart, with the incorruptible and unfading charm of a gentle and peaceful spirit, which is not anxious or wrought up, but is very precious in the sight of God. Even the scriptures talk about how beautiful this is, not only to men, but even to God. Even God cannot ignore the beauty of a peaceful spirit. It is the thing that men mention from the first time they talk to me on the phone, to the first date, to the second. I mean, it is something that when a man is looking for a serious relationship, a long-lasting relationship, he wants to feel like when he's around this woman, she is a calm presence. She is a safe space. She is peaceful. She's seeking peace. She's not seeking trouble. She's not constantly anxious. She's not wrought up. I don't know why that is. I'm still studying as to what is it about men that they are so drawn to this aspect in women of calmness, of peace. And I'm sure it has something to do with the fact that they fight so much in other areas of their life, and so many areas of their life are about competing and proving themselves, and they don't want to have that in a partner, in a female partner. If you're thinking to yourself, well, that's just not my personality, I'm just not like that, I want you to understand that a gentle spirit, a peaceful spirit, a quiet spirit, whatever translation you have, has nothing to do with your personality. This is not a gentle and a peaceful and a quiet personality. This is a gentle, quiet, and peaceful spirit. I am very opinionated. I am not shy. I will tell you exactly what I believe, how I see things. I am not like some kind of shrinking violet, if you will, but yet I am told on multiple occasions that I have such a calmness and a peace. What does that tell you? A peaceful spirit has nothing to do with your personality. You can have a loud personality, you can have a vivacious personality, you can have a quiet personality. It really doesn't matter. It's your spirit, it's the state of your heart. A good example of this is the difference between an Esther and a Deborah. If you watch my series on Esther, you know that Esther was a much more demure, submissive, quiet, to herself, maybe an introvert type of personality. Her personality was very, very different than Deborah. Deborah was a very forward, she will tell you, get up, Barak, it's time. She was bold. She was confident. She was fearless. And yet, Deborah had such a calmness and a peace about her that Barak came to her and said, I'm not going to battle unless you're there with me, because you give me some sense of safety, some peace, some calmness when you are around. I hear a lot of feminine channels talk about a soft life, having a soft voice, doing soft gestures. You know, be soft. But this is not something you can act. This is not something you can put on. This is something that you have to cultivate on a spiritual level. It is a quality that you have to grow. You have to strengthen within yourself. Sometimes you're going to have to face some demons within yourself, some past issues that may be causing you to constantly be anxious or depressed or combative. This is real work. I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's easy. I used to be a short-tempered child. I used to be an angry kid. Being called peaceful at this time in my life did not come without tears. It did not come without facing some demons, some skeletons in my closet. But I'm so grateful to be here, because now it is like a jewel. Just like the scripture talks about, better than jewelry, better than all the adorning on top of your body. Adorn yourself with peacefulness, a spirit that knows that it is secure in Christ. There is no need to be anxious, because I can cast my care on the Lord. That spirit will not go unnoticed. If God cannot ignore a quiet spirit, what man do you think is going to be able to ignore that? The second trait that I've realized that a lot of men super appreciate is a sense of wisdom, discernment. What is wisdom? Simply put, I'll say that wisdom is the ability to make good decisions. A lot of men who are looking for long-term partners, wives, are looking for a woman who has wisdom, who is not going to make silly choices and decisions because of ego. She's able to discern when something is wise to do, when something may not be wise to do. Timing. When I first started my YouTube channel, I started it on examining wisdom. And I defined wisdom as the correct application of understanding. So number one is you must acquire knowledge. But number two is you must understand that knowledge. Lots of people have information. I mean, we are in an information age. But not a lot of people go out seeking knowledge. They don't know how to decipher what kind of information is useful and what is not. But once you've acquired that knowledge, you also have to understand it. It's easy to regurgitate something you heard off the news or Facebook or what have you, but do you understand? A lot of smart people, intelligent people will stop right there with understanding. But you see, wisdom is something completely different. Wisdom requires that you're able to apply your understanding correctly. The correct application of understanding requires practice. The Holy Spirit can download whatever He wants to you, for sure, but that wisdom has to be applied. It has to become a part of you, a part of your identity. A lot of serious Christian men who want wives, they're looking for a woman who has evidence of her wise choices, her wise decisions. Proverbs 31:10. A capable, intelligent, and virtuous woman, who is he who can find her? She is far more precious than jewels, and her value is far above rubies or pearls. I just love this scripture so much because we have all these talks about high value man, high value woman, but the Bible tells us what a valuable woman actually looks like. And so I just want to point that out right now. This woman is capable, intelligent, and virtuous. Intelligence is acquired knowledge, but being capable and virtuous, that has to be demonstrated. I'm not saying that you need to be a circus clown and demonstrate your virtue to a man. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying there should be evidence of your virtue. There should be evidence of your capability just naturally in your life. There should be evidence of you having applied wisdom. The third thing that I see a lot of men love in a woman is an encouraging person. Somebody who's able to both encourage them, but also someone who's able to understand them. They create a safe space for this man to grow and flourish. Proverbs 31:11. The heart of her husband trusts in her confidently and relies on and believes in her securely, so that he has no lack of honest gain or need for dishonest spoil. In that scripture, you can hear that this man trusts securely in his wife. You can hear that this man has confidence when he's around her. He has security. He feels safe. He feels like he can be fully the man he was meant to be. That's what I hear when I hear the word confidence. You don't realize how little men are built up, especially in our modern society. A lot of men go through life being beat down from, work to society, media. There's not actually a whole lot of opportunity for men to feel capable and able and worthy of acknowledgement or applause. When they are in the presence of a woman who can identify great things about them, point them out to him. Now, you don't have to be profuse. This is not about kissing butt. This is about genuinely identifying something that is admirable about a man and just pointing it out. That's so amazing that you have worked your way up the ladder and gotten to the place that you are. Wow, that's so amazing that you went through all that hardship in your childhood and you are doing so well right now. That's so amazing. These are genuine compliments that really endear a man's heart. For him to know that through all the jagged edges of who he is as a man and all that he's had to go through, you can see the diamond. You can see something worthy of honor and praise. For whatever reason, men, they love some praise. And I say, what's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with pointing out something genuine that you admire about a man? He will very much appreciate it simply because you're able to see something good in them when maybe they don't get to see that goodness all the time. Now, the flip side of this is the understanding part. When you have the first trait that I mentioned, the gentle and quiet spirit, you'll find that a lot of men feel comfortable enough to open up to you about their brokenness, about their hurt, about their past, about even their current struggles. Sometimes women can have this tendency to recoil from such vulnerability from men. I just want to kind of encourage you, see things a little bit differently. Just like he may not get a whole lot of praise in his life, he may also, and most likely probably doesn't, get very much opportunity to share his vulnerability. He does not feel safe enough often enough. And so if a man has opened up to you and is vulnerable with you, even if the things he's sharing, you're kind of like, I don't want to deal with that. There's nothing wrong with simply listening and providing a safe space for him to share without judgment. This is such a huge thing for a lot of men. They don't really talk to their guy friends about deep things. They should, but oftentimes men have not developed their communication skills, their emotional skills to the level where they feel okay going that deep with their friends. But in the presence of a peaceful woman who is encouraging to them, they can often let their guard down. And I guess my only message is to show honor to that, be gracious to that. You don't have to accept everything that's being said to you or take that on to fix, but you can provide a safe space. That doesn't cost you anything. I would caution those of you who consider yourselves empaths, because usually empaths have struggles with boundaries. When someone else has emotions, they don't know how to differentiate themselves from the men or the person that's sharing themselves. Don't be too empathetic. This man does not do this often, and he feels safe with you. Wow, what a compliment. I think that that is a clear indication that you are rare and extremely valuable. Number 4 is a really fun one. It is beauty. Don't sleep on your beauty if you're a Christian woman. Don't think like, oh, he's just gonna see my quiet spirit and he's just gonna fall in love. Now, that might happen. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. It absolutely could. But there's nothing wrong with you honoring what God has given you. It doesn't matter what you look like, honestly. I'm not talking about you trying to attain some kind of beauty standard. I'm saying take a look at yourself and say, what has God given me that is beautiful that I can showcase? Honor what God has given you. Show that you appreciate yourself. That really is what beauty is. Beauty is an indicator of health, not just physical health, mental health, emotional health. When you take the time to make yourself look your best, you are telling men and the rest of the world that I care about myself. I have a healthy image of myself. I treat myself with care. It shouldn't be a shock to you that serious men who want a wife and a mother to their child, are looking for a woman who cares for herself, who has a healthy sense of self, who can honor her body. Most men who want to settle down, who want to have a serious relationship, are not looking for any kind of beauty. You wear a certain length of skirt, you don't really show your cleavage like that. You spend time kind of coordinating your colors and making sure that things fit you well. You think, oh, well, men don't notice things like that. They do. Now, they may not be able to go into detail, but they can understand just by looking at you as a full package and say, that's not a woman that you take out to the club. That's not a woman that you do one night stands with. This is a woman that you have to take out to dinner. This is a woman that you have to court. And all that is communicated just in your appearance, the way that you present yourself. All of these are things to take into account when cultivating this quality of beauty. So all of this is going to translate something to the serious man, to the man who's looking for a wife. Not a girlfriend for the night or for the week or the month. A wife is the neon sign of my wardrobe saying, I'm a wife. Or is the neon sign of my wardrobe saying, I'm really fun. Being fun is not bad. But I'm just saying that you just have to ask yourself, which woman am I? I'm a wife. If you're not a husband, please step aside. Step aside, sir. Step aside. Next. The 5th quality is the quality of joyfulness and fun. A woman who can find reasons to smile, to laugh, to show interest, to be fascinated, curiosity, something about that kind of inner light, that inner joy, that inner fun opens a man's heart even further. And really that is what a woman, in my opinion, is supposed to do. She's supposed to kind of soften him up a little bit. Being in charge of your own joy actually really inspires a man to be softer and to be more gentlemanlike even, and even more playful and fun with you as well. Because you have to understand, the serious man is thinking about being with a woman for the rest of his life. He wants to be able to maintain and sustain his love for this woman for the long term. So if it's already a struggle on date 3, he's probably not going to be seeing you 30 years in the future. Be in charge of your joy. Take it as a strength. I know that there's like toxic positivity. A lot of women feel burdened by this idea that women should always be smiling. That's not what I'm saying. I do think that there's something healthy in being in charge of your joy, not letting your joy be dependent on his state of being or what he wants to complain about that day. If he's sitting there complaining, you change the subject to something more positive because you're just not interested, because you're in charge of your joy, that says a whole lot to him. In fact, I think being in charge of your joy and being able to maintain a state of joyfulness, of gratefulness, actually chases away non-serious guys. It chases away guys who want to be controlling, guys who want to dump their issues on you, because they realize they can't dump anything on you. Everything falls right off because you're in charge of your joy. This expectation that women should be happy, I actually don't see it as a weakness. I see it, if you take charge of it, I see it as a strength to be able to say, I'm going to keep my joy. I don't know what you're doing. You could do whatever you like, but my joy is not going nowhere. Wow, this is a woman who, despite where the world is at, despite what's going on in her life, she's able to maintain joyfulness, lightheartedness. She's able to smile. She's able to laugh. I'm not saying in all situations you should just slap a smile on your face, but to be able to see the silver lining, to be able to kind of flip things on the positive, you can acknowledge the things that are negative, but always kind of have a spirit of gratefulness. You know what? I trust God. Nothing is going to cause me to despair because I am a woman of God. And that is the thing that I think separates the Christian woman. We have a God who cares for us. We have a God who empathizes, who sympathizes with us. That alone gives us comfort. That gives us something to be grateful for, to find joy in. Quality number 6. Contrary to my first point, this actually is the most important trait to cultivate: a genuine relationship with God. I have a little story to tell you. This actually happened rather recently. I had, been seeing a guy on multiple dates. He had briefly mentioned that he really liked that I prayed before our first meal, but it wasn't until I think after our 6th or 7th date that he actually told me that that one little gesture of making sure that we prayed before we ate completely changed the game. He said that he had not ever been in a relationship with a Christian woman who prayed before she ate. I thought, what? Never? But it showed him, I take this seriously. No, this is a serious part of my life. And it was at that point that he knew this woman is marriage material. This woman has her convictions and they are serious. They are genuine. They are part of her identity. She's not putting it on. She's not waiting for me to take charge. She has chosen that this is the woman she's going to be, and she is being that. Your genuine faith will come through. You can act like a good Christian girl all you want, but these little things, do not think that men do not pick up on them. A genuine faith, a genuine relationship with God, a genuine Christian community, genuine Christian friendships. Build out your spiritual life and it will come through. Maybe it won't be the fact that you pray before a meal, but maybe it's the things that you refuse to do. Maybe it's the things that you think are necessary. The criteria that you present to him when he says, oh, well, what are you looking for? It will come through in your conversation, the way that you discuss certain topics. How many times do you refer to your faith, to the Bible, to your relationship with God? It will come through if it is genuine. Men will take notice, especially serious Christian men looking for wives and mothers. They want a real Christian woman. They don't want a fake one. They don't want a certain Sunday, certain holiday type Christian women. They want the real thing. Even the guys who don't go to church, even the Christian guys who don't even go to church, want the Christian woman who's involved in her small group, her Bible study. They want the best of the best type of Christian woman. But that is why I have a disclaimer at the end. Please stay to the end to watch that. And so the 7th and final trait is a self-awareness and a sense of purpose. And this is true also in men. I actually am so mesmerized by a guy who knows what his purpose is. He's aware of himself. He has a list of things that he's working on to improve, to progress in, and he's yielded to God and the purpose that God has put on his life. And a similar thing is true for women. I find that a lot of Christian men love a woman who has some sense of purpose, something that she's going after, something that she is pursuing, and that she is able to recognize where she needs to improve in order to attain that. So she's able to say, oh, I'm weak in this area, or I have faults in this area, or I messed up here, or I made this mistake, and I've learned, and I've grown, or I am growing, and I am learning. I'm improving. This really is something that is loved by mature men. And I don't just mean by age. I just mean that men who have gone through things, they've seen many different types of women, and they've concluded that some of the best women to have in their life are women who are able to examine themselves, self-examine, self-reflect, and improve on their own. They're not the kind of women who are going to say, I don't need any improvement, I'm perfect as I am, I don't ever need to look at myself. You don't need to be perfect. You don't really need to know exactly where you're going, but you need to have this inner drive and this ability to self-reflect and start improving and progressing in your life. And I do find that a lot of men appreciate a woman who's able to kind of share her goals and visions for the future. He also is looking for someone that he's able to, point out some shortcomings, and she's not going to completely ignore him. They can actually be a team and help each other grow, challenge each other to be a better version of themselves each day. And that requires humility, that requires receptivity, and you can see that clearly in my series on Esther. Esther was such a receptive woman. She was a woman who received correction. Esther is a wonderful one to examine when you want to look at the importance of receptivity, humility, and the ability to examine yourself and realize that you are short here and you need to improve. So those are my 7 traits. Here's a disclaimer. A woman who has all of these qualities, or who is working towards cultivating all of these qualities, can attract a wide range of men. It will not just be the serious, genuine Christian man looking for a wife, ready for a family. But let me tell you the truth. You will get everyone from the guy who is not even worshiping Christ whatsoever to the youth pastor at a church. Men in general love these traits, and a lot of men even who are not ready for marriage, who are not ready for a family, who are not even Christian, will love a woman who has these traits. So my disclaimer is that just because he can clock you doesn't mean that you shouldn't check him. There are many men who, when they're ready to get married, or when they think they're ready to get married, they will look for a woman who is wife material without they themselves being husband material. And that's just true in the natural world. Now, when you go into the Christian world, there are also Christian men who know that their walk with God is not that solid, who know that they are not cultivating the traits that they need to have to be good fathers and husbands, who know that they are not walking in God's purpose, who will want a woman who is doing all those things. Unfortunately, a lot of women will say, well, he's a Christian, and that's good enough. I want to change that. Women set a standard. We set a standard for each other. We will get more of what we accept. And I would encourage my fellow Christian women not to accept men who do not want to be as committed to their faith as you. Because it goes back to what I said in my series on Esther. Esther could not submit to a decree that was not submitted to God, even if that decree was from her husband. So what that tells me is that you have to be very cautious about who you submit to. If he has not submitted his life to Christ, and what that means is much of the traits that I shared here, a genuine faith, for instance. If you're not seeing evidence of his faith in his life, if you're not seeing him pursuing a purpose that was God-given, and here you are doing everything within your power to do just that, you are not equally yoked, in my opinion. Now, I'm not a theologian. Please, pray about what I say. But in my opinion, you're not equally yoked. It doesn't matter if he can list all the wonderful traits he sees in you, if you check all of his boxes. You have to go back and ask yourself, what boxes did God give me to check when it comes to my spouse? So my warning here is that just because he can identify your value does not mean that he himself has the value that you're looking for. So proceed with caution. You will attract butterflies and regular flies alike when your light begins to shine, when you begin to blossom and bloom. Not every dude who comes buzzing around is for you. It may just mean that your light is super bright and very attractive. Okay, so if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave any comments down below about your experiences, the way you see things, maybe something that you disagreed with, that you have a different perspective on. I'd love to hear it down below in the comments. Subscribe and share this video with whoever you think it might bless. And until next time, have a blessed day. Bye.